All right, a lot of topics tonight. We are officially live, I think, at least on Twitter. Let me share this a little bit here. We'll wait for some people to pop in.
Pop
We'll
on.
officially start up at 8:05, I think.
Nothing
Jack.
to
That
talk
sound good?
about. I'm hoping that, yeah,
Nothing, never.
nothing to talk about. We're going to try to get through this the best we can. So we'll just wait, see if we get
If
a
there,
couple of people.
if there's one thing that this team always gives us, though, it's topics.
Content, baby.
Like you don't have to ever really. There's maybe been like 1 week this year, even going back to the summer, where it's like, man, we really got to stretch this out somehow. What are we going to talk about?
I mean, look, we do it year round, and we really don't struggle for stuff. So
No. But fun one tonight. You could tell by the title. Gonna get into Flyers fans at some point. Are we the problem, Jack? Is it us?
Oh, it has to be. God forbid we blame anybody else.
Yeah. Can't be the coach. If it's not the coach, it's the player. If it's not the player, it's the GM. Got to be somebody. So we're going to get into a lot. Maybe some psychology at some point, because I feel like when stuff comes out in the media, and we'll get to this, but like it's kind of human nature to just react to things, right?
Yeah, of course. What else you got?
Yeah, and that's pretty much what Twitter's for, to react.
Unfortunately.
Like, why would I think about something before going out and typing it and putting it into the void where hundreds and millions of people could see it and take it out of context and do whatever they want with it? Save it for a later date, bookmark it, if you will, and bring it up to prove you that you're wrong in 2 years, which I've had happen.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate, by the way. It's, I guess it's in a sense.
What were you wrong about, Jim?
Oh, man, I'm sure I've been wrong about a lot.
I know that happened to our buddy Josh. He took that picture of it was like Ghost, Robert Hagg, Moran, and maybe Sanheim. I'm not sure. And it was just like, our future is so bright.
Yeah.
I think, and somebody's giving him a hard time. And I'm like, I think a lot of people are wrong about that one, not just poor Josh. And it was like 4 years after the fact.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like there's not a lot of people doing that now. Like, you look at the Flyers pipeline, and not too many people are, putting Nesbitt, Bonk, Bump, all in a group and saying, "Oh, the future's bright here."
We've been burnt, Jim.
It's true.
That time around was like the first time they did any kind of like building through the draft / some kind of rebuild. Now we're kind of like, it didn't even do it right. Now we're like kind of going through it. We know what to expect. We know not to believe that every prospect is because they look good here or there, or we're drafted higher than when they were slotted or whatever is going to make sure they pan out. So there's a lot of carefulness this time around. Cautious optimism, I'll say. Very cautious.
Well, I mean, we had a pretty good track record of guys. If they came on our show, they ended up making the NHL, but they didn't really stick around. You had the Florenskis, the Bonnemans, Jack. Remember those guys?
I couldn't say half their names.
And then the one guy that burned us, what the hell's his name?
German Rufstoff?
Pascal Laberge.
Oh, yeah. Well, he got leveled.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
But the Germ was he was a bust and a half. That draft wasn't very good, but yeah.
Some of the comments already. I'm getting excited for this episode. Who's saying I'm going to spin it, Dave?
There's a question mark at the end. My goodness gracious. Let's have the conversation.
All right, we have enough to get going here. It's 8:07. We're late. Let's kick it off here.
These
with
comments
the intro.
are just dripping with anger, Jim.
It's going to be a fun show.
Dog ready to pounce, man.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to try to tiptoe a line tonight. All right, so. Look, if you want to get nuts, please be my guest. Like I welcome that, if you got bald jokes, bring them. Somebody called me a twice baked potato earlier this week, Jack. If you saw that was one of the best insults I've gotten.
So that was fun.
Let them rip tonight, because let's have a fun episode. I want to get a little emotional. I want to laugh. I want to cry, and let's get going here. All right, Jack, you ready?
Might as well. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. What's up, you beauties? Welcome to the HW Hockey YouTube channel, episode 30 of Season 8. I'm your host, Jim Michkov, joined as always by Jack Smith. And if you're catching us live on YouTube, make sure you smash that subscribe button at some point while you're watching tonight and hit the like button so you guys never miss a show. The like goal for the episode is 100 likes, and we're trying to hit 1,000 views. So if you share this, if you get in on this, hit the subscribe button, the like button. It helps us get in front of more eyes and more ears. Would greatly appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcast or Spotify if you guys are listening as a podcast, so you're first in line when newest episodes drop. Before we really get going tonight, Jack, do you have the Fans of Philly read ready to go?
I do.
All right, let's get that going.
Let's knock this out of the way, everybody. All right, guys, quick timeout, because if you're a diehard Philly fan, you need to hear about this. Fans of Philly is the ultimate way to hit the road with the Birds, the Flyers, the Phillies, or even the Sixers. We're talking full travel packages, your hotel, your transportation, and yes, the tailgates that are basically legendary at this point, all taken care of for you. No stress, no scrambling for tickets, no worrying about where you're staying. You just show up, throw on your jersey, and enjoy the ride with your fellow diehard Philly fans. So whether it's flying out to see the Eagles take over an opponent's arena, cheering on the Flyers in enemy territory, or making it a full weekend getaway for the Phillies and Sixers games, Fans of Philly has you covered. Trust me, this is the closest you'll get to feeling like one of the players themselves as they roll into town, because the takeover is real. So check them out Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and start planning your next Philly sports road trip today. That's Fans of Philly, PHFansofPhilly.com, where every away game feels like a home game.
Well, nicely done, Jack. Best read of the year, I think. 10 out of 10 on that one. Knocked it out of the park.
Getting used to it.
All right, so here we go, guys. I don't know if I put this up during the pre-show there. Here's the topics for the episode. There's a lot of them. Obviously, the Flyers went 5-8-3 in January, and they were almost, they were creeping towards 500 towards the end there before they finished off with that little 4-game losing streak, I think it was, the 0-3-1 stretch. But they're currently undefeated in February, Jack, a 1-0 record heading into tomorrow night, the return of Claude Giroux once again with the Ottawa Senators. So a chance to go 2-0 till the end of February. But a lot to get to. Obviously, we're going to talk about Rick Tocchet. Obviously, we're going to talk about Matvei Michkov. We're going to talk Danny Briere. We're going to get into some trade deadline talk. The Spittin' Chicklets, guys. I don't know about you, Jack, but look, before we get into what he said, I actually, for the most part, enjoy listening to Paul Bissonnette. I think he's a character guy. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's a good guy, too. Usually his opinions are somewhat well thought out, but he went off on Flyers fans the other night. And I kind of want to get going with, let's get everybody riled up right away. So did you hear his comments, or did you read his comments yesterday on Twitter calling Flyers fans morons?
Yeah, I saw the Rocky picture with his stupid face on it and his little, thanks for proving that you're the dumbest people on the earth. Whatever he said. I didn't even know what it was in reference to. Probably him defending his boy and trying to, explain the game, I guess.
Find it.
I mean, if you're talking to Flyers fans on Twitter, you're an idiot. Like, I'm sorry. If that's where you're getting your idea of who's stupid and who's smart, and you go to Twitter, you're the dumbass. But yes, I retweeted it and told him to go and F off, essentially.
Let me see if I can bring his comments up real quick here. Artemi Panarin traded, by the way, to the Los Angeles Kings.
For peanuts, baby, but apparently that's the only place he would go, and he re-upped for 2 years, 11 per.
I got to tell you, I was kind of glad to see that, because there was a few, I don't know if they were rumors, reports. I guess they were rumors about him wanting to go to a non-tax state.
Yeah, I think Tampa popped up. Maybe on the deal.
I'm so tired of that, man. So even though that I don't care that he was traded to Los Angeles, and I don't ever watch Los Angeles Kings hockey games, I was just glad that he went somewhere besides Vegas or Florida or wherever,
Those are the two. Well, two in Florida and Vegas. Yeah. Seems like all the top players seem to go to certain destinations. So it was nice because the Kings are barely hanging on to a playoff spot. And that one conditional pick, I think if they win a playoff round, the third turns into a second. It's they could miss the playoffs outright.
Yeah, totally. Okay, here we go. So here's the Bissonnette comments here. Let me see if I can make my screen a little bigger.
He did say on this app. I do realize that he said that on this app.
So here's the comment. He put his head on the Rocky statue. And I think there's more before this. And we'll scroll down and see if we can find it. He says, I want to personally thank some of the incredible Flyers fans on this app, because of you. I'm not the dumbest person on here. You make me feel intelligent in ways I never have. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. That's brotherly love. And I'm afraid to look through the comments, see what's going on in here. But hey, there's Drunk Gritty.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
So I gotta say, like, I'm just being honest. There's a decent chunk of Flyers Twitter that I have muted. And
yeah,
and lately, like usually I don't see what's going on in that chunk. I don't know. I wonder if I got to get this off the screen here because it's playing.
It's what you think. It's about what you left.
Yeah. So, I mean, nowadays the Rick Tocchet stuff has gotten so out of control.
Dude, you thought the Torts stuff was bad last year? I mean, at least there was like 2 years before that leading into the third year. This is what, 50 games he's had with this team, and it is. I mean, I understand some anger. I'm not gonna lie, but like the same people who were saying the reason Michkov didn't win the Hart Trophy last year, you know, you thought they were mad at Torts. Like there is pitchforks and torches, and it's just to an umpteenth degree. And there's no like, and I'm a little upset myself, but like, there's no talking to some of them. And what irks me is I'll get mad at Paul Bissonnette, you know, taking a shot at Flyers fans, and he even said on the stat. But at the end of the day, I can't feel like it's a personal attack. I just can't, you know, because I know how his co-host is a whiny, Penguins loving Flyers hater, you know.
Yeah, so Whitney, I can't stand. I think he's just
such
a beta, soy boy, whatever you want to call it.
He is such a pussy, dude. He really is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. He is. But anyway, but like, you know, but there's like people on the app that like, they don't like, we're all fans of the same team.
Yeah.
But I don't think they care about winning, the Flyers winning and us rejoicing together. I think they care about being right about their argument. Like they wouldn't mind if this team was in the basement forever as long as they were right. And that to me is sick. It's a cowardly way to watch the team, because if they suck, you were right. So hooray for you. If they win, then they're winning. Great. You're a fan of the team. So it's cowardly to be that way. But also, like, you truly like don't care. You just want to be right about everything. It's like, are you even interested in the sport, or just your whatever content you're talking about and being right on the app? And it's like, dude, touch grass. Like that is ridiculous, and it's still there, and it's even worse this year. It's horrible.
Yeah, it was. So I enjoy different perspectives and having conversations, but the reason I had to, if I mute somebody, it's for my own peace of mind. Like, because sometimes the stupidity is so great that it'll interrupt my inner peace. Like I can't stop thinking about it throughout the course of the day. Like, how could somebody be so stupid to think this and put it out there? And then you see that there's other people agreeing, and it's like, oh my God, this is spreading. You know what I mean?
Some people are very easily manipulated, I guess. It's a lot of people that say that the Flyers aren't a top team, but they're trying to get into it because they don't like what the Phillies did and the football season's over. They'll find themselves listening to these people, and they just jump on the bandwagon, not fully understanding what they're even saying. Yeah. Like one of my best friends, like he hated Steve Mason like you wouldn't believe. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. This is at the time, I mean, this is one of the better goalies we've had in a long time. And he just didn't understand. He's just like, no, you let the puck in. I'm like, okay. Like, how much time do I have to describe to you the game of hockey? Where'd that come from?
You know, that's from Dan.
Dan. Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
No, Jack. So I agree with you. And I tend to think, so I think human beings are naturally emotional creatures, which I appreciate, because, you know, having emotion, having passion is like the spice of life. You know, if you don't have those two things, it's pretty boring without that, right? Unfortunately, negative emotion is so much easier to express, I think, and especially with the Flyers. So I'm not blaming this on the fans, right? The Flyers are just, everyone has PTSD, number one, and we'll get into that. Number two, I think Tocchet's track record should be considered, but for me personally, I don't feel, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't make me run to the computer and say, oh my God, this is like, we got to do something now. We either got to fire the coach. I'm digging up past moves by Briere with the Gauthier thing, which has already been discussed, for the last 2 years. And now we want to start digging it back up and saying, you know what? He really did fuck that up. Let's hold that against him now because he hired this coach and this coach is ass. But we're only 50 games in. Right. So for me, 50 games is not enough to say this ain't it. Now, I said game 1, if you remember. At the beginning of the season, we're all excited to watch. That first game, I was like, holy shit, that was brutal. That was rough. And the Flyers have, believe it or not, they have offensive weapons. So to see the way they play, it bothers me sometimes. But they're learning a new style, a new system. So if that's what you want to sell me, like, I'll buy it because that's all true, right? You can't really argue with that. It's the truth. So I'll give them a period of time to get things together. Their centers are inept. They don't have a playmaking, offensive driving center. And we've talked about this, to no end. Coots, Noah Cates having a solid year, but he's a third line center that's a natural left winger. Dvorak is the ideal 3C, who they re-signed. And then Couturier, who's a shell of himself. So my expectations are tempered, right? So let's kind of shift gears and go back to where a lot of the worry started this year. And we heard the Spit and Chicklets podcast, if I'm not mistaken, they were the ones to come out and say first that Michkov was out of shape, that they heard he was out of shape, right? And obviously everyone's first thought was Rick Tocchet must be telling them stuff because this didn't come out from the Flyers. Flyers never said anything about an ankle injury, what have you. Almost immediately after they came out and said, Michkov had an ankle injury, that's why he's kind of catching up kind of thing. Okay, we'll buy that. But I don't think either of us were like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. We accept that. We were like, this is a little weird because all throughout preseason, you didn't hear anything. It only came out once the season started, and Michkov's minutes were a little weird. So we're there, and then obviously throughout the course of the season, Michkov's minutes are all over the place. They're really low, and then I think the straw that broke the camel's back was the 10-minute game. I can't recall the team that they played against, but I think it was the Kings game maybe. Only played 10 minutes. Everyone's flipping out. The people are saying that Tocchet's talking negatively about Michkov in the media, which I kind of want to stop there for a second, Jack, and I want to know what you think. Is Tocchet talking trash? Is he talking bad about Michkov to the press, or is he just so cut and dry? He doesn't really sugarcoat what he's saying.
To be honest, from what I've heard and the tone that he used, it's a little bit of both. I don't think he's shit talking by any stretch of the imagination. I do think he is cut and dry like that. He's always been that way. He said he's always been that way. But I also think he's really sick and tired of talking about Michkov. Like, it's its own category. It's not like where the team is at, defense, offense, power play, Michkov. And it's been going on since the start of the season. And I feel like when he talks about it, he'll start to stutter. It's almost like he can't either gather the words or he's just too irritated to have to talk about it. And then he starts letting stuff fly that Briere had to come out and address that he probably shouldn't have.
True.
To me, that's frustration. That's annoyance. I wouldn't say anger, but like I think he's irritated to say the least about it. You got people on Twitter who've never played hockey in their lives asking like, why isn't he? And I'm not saying it wrong, but like, says like, what does he have to do to like get into the lineup like consistently, like being put in situations like at the very least like it was last year, his future of this franchise. Obviously the front office understands that. What are you understanding about that? And he feels, and he can't help it. Now we're the missing treatments thing is the next thing that popped up. And, it's one thing after another. And it's like, here we go. Now to the point where the GM had to address it. Like, that's not good. You know, I'm not saying it describes everything. They have a broken relationship. He's just sick and tired of it. He already was sick and tired of it, but he knows he's got to continuously face it, and he knows he's going to face questions at the carnival like he did, and here we are. So,
yeah, and you did a good job breaking that down. So here's what I think. Like, it's I try to look at this from Tocchet's perspective, and I've said on this show, like, I wasn't excited for Tocchet as the hire. I would have liked to see, some new fresh blood like a Pat Ferschweiler. I think, Jack, you and I both did for a while there before they announced Tocchet. But I still try to get where he's coming from, just because I think that's fair, right? Even though I want to see Michkov play 15, 16, 17, 18 minutes a night and, play well, the situation coming into the season is not what it was supposed to be. And so blame needs to be put on the player. He needs to be held responsible. And, the coach, I think, could Tocchet do a better job speaking to media? Of course. I think he could. As fans, do you want total honesty from your coach? Because he's not saying things to put him down. To me, he's just being honest. He's giving you his 100% honest thoughts. You're seeing what's going on in Tocchet's brain when he answers these questions. Or, because Flyers fans say all they want is transparency, they want honesty, he's giving it to you and you don't like it. Or do you want him to paper around it and just ignore it or not say anything, right? And then it's going to be, well, he said he's fine. Why isn't he playing him 16, 17 minutes? So, look, I'm not sticking up for Tocchet, but he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't with this fan base, with this faction of the fan base that just wants to be irate, because really what they want is Tocchet to be gone, which is fine if that's your opinion, but like just admit that that's the issue. Whereas if he lies, you're gonna jump, you're gonna be pissed off, and if he tells the truth because it's something that you don't want to hear, you're gonna be pissed off. You know what I'm saying, Jack? And so, look, from the athlete's perspective, if you come into a season as out of shape as it sounds like Michkov came into the season, I think even Briere was talking about like body fat percentages. Like, when you're talking about body fat percentages, Jack, for an athlete, dude, that means you came in big, right? For real. Like, I can only go back to what I experienced. I played, and I know soccer's not hockey, but it is a sport where you need to be conditioned, well conditioned to play. In college, they measure your body fat. If you were, we had to be 10% body fat heading into the season. We had a workout regimen, a food regimen. We had to stick to all that in the summer leading up to the fall, right? If you were over 10% body fat, you didn't follow the program, right? And then so first day, and this is, I think, what Tocchet was doing with, not Tocchet, Tortorella would do with the rope test. If I remember correctly, we had to run 3 miles in 18 minutes. And if you finished over 18 minutes, didn't matter if it was 18:05, 18:01, you were out of shape coming into the season. You didn't do what you had to do. You should have been running 6-minute miles back in August. You know what I mean? A month before the season started. That means you're in shape. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you come into the season anything less than what they're telling you to come in at, you're out of shape. And once you come in, and look, Michkov wasn't just a little out of shape, dude. I don't know if he was hitting the gym or what, but if you go back and look at pictures from training camp when they went on these golf outings or whatever, he was big. He blew up. I don't know if it was muscle or what. But that all affects speed. It affects your stamina. So when I say in shape, I don't literally mean the shape that you come in as, because as long as you're conditioned, if your conditioning is right, you can play. And his conditioning is not where it needs to be still. I think Briere had a press conference yesterday. I have a 30-second clip here from Colin Newby. He was talking about it, but I was afraid to tweet what I tweeted a few days ago about an athlete coming into the season out of shape because I didn't know what people were going to say. I didn't want to sound like a know-it-all. I was just trying to talk from my own experience. If you come into the season behind, out of shape, you are never going to catch up because everyone else that comes in shape is only going to get in better shape as the season goes on. You know what I mean? So if they come in fast, they're only going to get faster. If you come in slow, you're cooked. And you might start games out well. Maybe you can, survive the first and second periods, but your ass starts to drag out there in the third, late in games, that kind of thing. Is that happening with Michkov? I don't know. It certainly looks like it when you start to look at the length of his shifts. And there's people out there that say, Tocchet's taking him off, yada, yada, and that's affecting the average. Maybe. I would tend to, for me, my opinion, I would go more with he's taking himself off to conserve himself so that he can play later in games. That would make more sense to me. I also choose to believe that a coach would protect his player and not put him out in situations where he's going to get burned or whatever it is if he's gassed. Having said that, where I disagree with Tocchet is playing Michkov. If you want him to play more, score more goals, provide more offense, put him where he's most confident. Put him on that right side. So I don't know. There's a lot of contradicting thoughts because if I wanted to look at Tocchet's side for why he's playing him on the left side, well, Michkov's left-handed. The other guys that are playing right wing are right-handed. Michkov's naturally, he shoots left-handed. He puts him on the left side. He helped create a goal last night playing on the left wing. Maybe in the long run, because Michkov's only, 20, 21 years old. He's going to have a long career, God willing. Being able to play the left side is only going to make him better, you would think. So now you got a guy where you can put left wing, right wing, and he can make plays all over the ice. All right. So I went on kind of long there, Jack, but what do you think?
It was a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I just don't know. Like I get it, but based on, and they were saying it in the chat a little bit, Tocchet tends to contradict himself.
He does a lot.
I don't know if he just gets caught up in what he's saying. I don't know if he's just in a better mood one day and a terrible mood the next. Like I really, it's really hard to say. And you made a good point with he made a bad impression on the coach. Let's be real. Like his first impression was a very bad one. I don't think it was like horrific or anything like that. But not only is it a bad first impression, like everything you just said, he's behind the 8 ball now. And while everybody's in shape, now let's say Michkov gets in shape. Well, now everybody else is in mid-season form. Now he's playing catch up to that. It's just it can snowball. It really can. And it has. And you got a coach who is told that they're trying to win and turn the corner. So he's not going to put too much emphasis on some of the younger players, which it looks like the front office had to remind him. And sure enough, Michkov had like 16 minutes or something the other night. So there you go. So I just I put that up earlier. I was wondering.
Oh, you did?
So, yeah.
That's for Trav.
Yeah, you were in your thing. Yeah, but he got you. I'm trying to play a little catch up on some of the comments. There's so many. All good comments. But yeah. So it's ultimately, I don't know. I'm at the point now where I'm like, can we just get to the break, then the deadline, sell? Because you got Forster's already gone for the season. Injuries are cropping up. Maybe Martone comes in at the end and you see a little something. But I'm almost done with the season to an extent, which is a shame. But they're kind of in no man's land. They're gonna barely miss the playoffs. Other teams are getting better. New Jersey just added a player. They're below us in the standings, which means they're not going away anytime soon. We're sinking. Other teams are winning. Yeah, sure. They had a nice win against the Capitals last night. I was there. I saw it.
Oh, there you go.
Capitals are coming off a back-to-back. They have a third string goalie in net. Barely snuck by him. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, how good are we actually? And Briere kind of said this. He's like, I know we weren't as good. We were the first 2.5 months of the season. I also know we're not this bad. However, we're somewhere in the middle. However, they've lost enough ground where it doesn't matter what they really are. If they find that equilibrium, they're going to be out on the outside looking in. So if you're on the outside looking in, I'd rather just have a higher draft pick.
Yeah,
so I don't know who they can sell. Maybe Risto, I guess. But just sell whatever you don't need, and let's all systems go for next year. It's the only thing I think of.
No, and that makes total sense, right? Like that makes the most sense heading into the deadline here. I mean, they're going to have 2 weeks to discuss things. I know they're not allowed to make any moves. The deadline was 3 p.m. earlier today, Wednesday. So I'm expecting moves. I know that they said they're not really looking to make big splashes. Totally get it. I'm not expecting that. But they have guys like Noah Juleson on the roster who, frankly, I don't want to see here next year. I know he's Tocchet's boy and maybe helped implement a system and whatnot. And the Flyers are kind of doing this thing where they bring in like a Stahl or Eric Johnson. And maybe this year was a Noah Juleson type thing. So see what you can get for a Juleson. Bobby Brink's a guy that's been coming up a few times. He's an RFA after this season's due for a raise. Maybe like the perfect third line winger, but maybe there's a team out there that sees Bobby Brink and is like, if we just give him a few more minutes, put him in the top 6 there, we can get more production out of him. He would be a name that I would watch for, unfortunately, because frankly, Jack, I enjoy watching Bobby Brink, but he might just be a casualty. Like they need to move a guy, right?
Well, I mean, a winger's got to go. We got too many. They are starting to play Zegras at center a little bit. It's been like a game and a half. But even with that, if even Zegras is a full-blown center somehow, you still have way too many wingers with Martone coming. I mean, somebody's got to go. And you don't want to you want to get somebody of value to go get what you can get. And I love watching Bobby. I do. He is what he is. And if him and something else can get you something you need, you're in a situation where you just have to do it. The Flyers might find themselves in a situation where we're going to lose a trade, but the asset we get back, the player we get back, is so necessary to what we need that we're just going to have to bite. We're just going to have to eat it. I don't know what that trade is. I don't know if it comes to fruition. I don't know. But I just feel like they got to do something. Not this trade deadline. I think this offseason, but sooner rather than later.
Well, let's talk about this comment they have up on the screen here from Grant Shilly, Jack. And I think there could be a match here. I don't know how exciting this would be for guys, for people to, let me see if I can bring this up. Hang on. Sorry. Stop sharing, share screen, Seattle Kraken. Okay. So I don't know how much the Kraken would be interested in Bobby Brink, but look at that right side. Jordan Eberle, who I think is their captain.
Yep. He's
going to be a UFA after this year. Eeli Tolvanen, UFA after this year. I don't think he re-signed or anything there. Kakko Kapanen, or what's his first name? Kakko. He looks like he's signed for,
yeah.
The KK guy. Yeah, signed for 3 years. So they're bringing him back, but they're weak on the wings. And they have a bunch of guys. Contracts are up. Where they're really strong is down the middle. You got Matty Beniers, former rookie of the year. They got Stevenson locked up for a long time there. Shane Wright in year 2 of 3 of this contract. And I think they have a bunch of guys coming up. Berkeley Cat, I think is more of a wing. Where'd they go? Where's the prospects here? They have O'Brien in the minors. Why isn't he? Oh, there he is.
O'Brien, yeah.
And I thought they had one more center prospect.
Oh, center.
The name is escaping me now. But the point is, they have a pipeline to where if they move Shane Wright, they can replace him next season. And they have a guy like Bobby Brink who matches this, similar age as Kakko there, similar age to Matty Beniers. I'm not saying it's got to be 1-for-1. But in my, I think Bobby Brink could be a guy included in a deal for Wright. And I might be more for a low risk move like that. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about Shane Wright. I know his draft stock would, I think that's what people are going off of. Should have been the first, or I'm sorry, was supposed to be the first pick. Obviously fell to 4. He's playing with Seattle, who's not been very impressive, but he in his own right has not been too impressive. He's had last year was his best year, his first full year, really. 79 games, 19 goals, 25 assists, 44 points. This year in 55 games, he's got 9 goals, 11 assists for 20 points. He does play the center position. So, yeah, it's a lower end move. We need centers. I wouldn't hate it. I just can't help but think this team, and maybe it's all you have, but I can't help but think this team needs to, and I don't know who you do this with, but they need to aim more for top end guys. I'm talking Robert Thomas. If that astronomical price tag is there, I think they need to flirt with it. I really do. I think they have to consider, if you're getting right, you're buying really low. I don't know if I want to give up Brink for that. I think Brink can be a part of a piece. Of another really good deal. Not saying I'm out all right. I just, when I see Brink going in a deal, I hope it's a part of a package or something else. And I can't just make that happen. I understand that. I'm just saying.
All right, so let's go to St. Louis, because oddly enough, there was a report that came out. Now I can't remember. I'm on Twitter. I know I bookmarked it. So let me name the source here while we're at it. Puck Empire. I don't know. Per Real Kuiper. Okay, so the St. Louis Blues for Robert Thomas are essentially asking for 3 separate assets, each equivalent to a top 15 pick in exchange for Robert Thomas. Do you do that, Jack?
Well, no, but I understand why they're asking for the moon in hopes that, they land somewhere close to it. It's just, I get it. Like, we've seen teams do that all the time. And, look what certain players go for, what they ultimately go for. So
what if I was to tell you real quick, let's say that, the Flyers are more than likely going to be picking in the top 15 this year, right? Hopefully. I don't know where it's going to be, but if it's where everybody keeps saying, if the fear is that they're going to be picking from 10 to 15 or whatever, let's just say their first round picks in play.
Yep.
Who else was picked top 15? Jack
and
your boy Jack Nesbitt.
Oh, send them both.
There's your 3 top 15 assets.
Boom, done, sold. Sign, deliver tomorrow. Let's go.
So I don't know what St. Louis is looking for position wise, but there's 2 center prospects.
Not where I thought you were going to go with that. But
they're literally, they're literally, you know what? I'm just saying, like, if that's what they're saying, they want the equivalent to 3 top 15 pick assets. Nesbitt 12, Luchenko 14, right? Was it 14 or 13? It doesn't matter.
13,
it's top 15.
13. And
then wherever the Flyers are picking this year, and all of a sudden you have your 1C.
Hey, yo, I'm in. Sold. Yeah. I don't think they'll view those players as top 15, unfortunately. They were both. See, the thing with Nesbitt and Luchenko is, and it depends on whose rankings you look like, but the consensus had them both outside the top 15. But hey, if they go for it, because you're not getting that, and hopefully nobody else goes for that. Even if we got to keep a guy and put in another guy that I like a little bit more, I'm still doing that.
Yeah, so I think the Blues might have their top center of the future in Dvorsky. So I don't know. Maybe they're looking for a 2C type guy like a Luchenko or a Nesbitt there too. Or maybe they're looking for a wing. Maybe the Flyers throw in Bobby Brink and say, hey, this guy was picked in round 2, but he could play in your top 6 and produce like a top 15 point guy. I don't know.
I don't know why the Blues aren't I don't want to say maybe not full rebuild, but kind of like full rebuild. When I just look out west, I'm like, right now they're at the bottom. Like, only team worse than them is the Canucks. Come on. And we know what happened with the Canucks out there. You got the Flames who are falling downwards. The Jets, major drop off. But you got teams like the Sharks, the Blackhawks, the Ducks. They're all leaping up. Avalanche, Wild Stars, Golden Knights, Oilers. They're all still there. It's like, They sell. Why wouldn't you be selling off your pieces? You're not competing with any of those teams anytime soon. So I really think everybody should be made available from this team and get what you, obviously if you're them, get what you can. So I don't understand this. Oh, we'll only trade if we get a Godfather offer. It's like you should be trading everybody. Like you should be rebuilding, kind of the way the Flyers maybe should have.
The thing for me, yeah, because last week we were talking about Godfather offer, but when I see three assets equivalent to a top 15 pick now, that's kind of it's open to interpretation, right? Like obviously what I think, you know, I'm taking that literally if I'm Danny Briere and saying we took Nesbitt 12th. You said top 15. He went 12th in the draft. So, and then obviously if you're the GM of the Blues, you would say, well, we didn't have him 12, kind of, right?
You guys are the ones that have him 12.
Right. It's open for interpretation. But to me, for when I hear Godfather offer, I'm like, well, if I want this guy, I got to drop my nuts on the table. But when I see this report, I'm like, there's a way that I can get this guy for less than maybe I don't have to drop my nuts on the table.
Sounds too good to be true, Jim. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. So to me, that gave me a little bit like, all right, if this is your guy, it sounds like now he's available and you know what it's going to potentially take. So and that's what that's what we heard Briere saving up assets for, right? I put out a video, yeah. I think it was last week, or Pronger made a comment, whatever. And, you know, the plan is there. The money's there to spend. The draft picks are there to spend. So the assets are there. The prospects are there. They just need to find the right team to make the trade with. And look, this is the example. Centers available, potential, 1C top 6 center.
Free agency's out the door. Nobody's there. This is your only option trading. So what are we waiting for?
Right. So the opportunity is presenting itself. Is Robert Thomas the guy? That's what they have to ask themselves. Is this the guy we want to spend the assets on? Without really looking and deep diving. I don't know who could become available down the road.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But it's like
right now, Thomas is the guy.
This is the first season they said that they're turning things around. They're going for it. Prove it. Like, I understand going from a tanking team to going for it. It may not put you in the conference finals right away. I understand that. However, we've gone through this season. There's a major fall off, and there's all sorts of issues and fires you're putting out. Nobody could solve a lot of that. Giving this fan base a top-ish center to go along with their stud player they love and some of the other players that they brought in and whatnot. So I understand Briere likes to work in the shadows and wait for the price to drop a little bit, which at the end of the day is the right move. But I also want him to let a opportunity pass him by. I said, like we are always saying, these guys do not become available. Do we really see Tocchet reuniting with Elias Pettersson? I don't see it. I really don't see that happening. He's really talented, but he doesn't strike me as a flyer per se. Robert Thomas is more up in that alleyway, if you ask me. I don't know what's ultimately going to happen, but again, you're going for it this year. You've made that clear. Now we're coming to the trade deadline where we're not selling or buying because of how the season has gone. We're coming into an off season. It's like, okay, so now we're going to add, because you had this off season circled. You thought for free agency purposes. That is gone now. So your only route really is trading. Does he have the balls to do it? Because there are players available. We're not even there yet. We already got a couple of centers we're talking about here. Maybe, yeah, sure. It's not McDavid, Eichel, or whoever, but still, you have to play with what you were given. You take the hand you're dealt, make it work. That's why you're the GM. That's why you get paid what you paid. But can you make it work? And do you have the balls to do so? And are you willing to take the backlash if people think you overpaid? But did you do ultimately what's right for the team?
Yeah, like you said, a lot of his moves so far, he's kind of waited out. I think for the 1C, he's gonna have to beat other teams with an offer. He's not going to be able to wait that one out. Like Bill Guerin with Quinn Hughes, for example, right? Kind of came out of nowhere and was just like, we want this guy. Tell me what the cost is, and we're going to pay it. I appreciate that kind of stuff.
I do too. I mean, I want to be a team that's definitely in the playoffs. When we do something like that, But until we get there, until you have a core that you can build around, and he fits his age and whatnot, somewhat fits what we're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we got up next on the topic list here. So we talked some Tocchet, some Michkov, Brink, a little bit about the trade deadline, spitting chicklets. Did we really talk about the presser from last night, Jack? Did you want to spend more time on that?
We kind of alluded to what was said and how he had to put out some fires. I don't know. Is there anything that really stood out to you other than like what was obviously? So first and foremost, Michkov and Tocchet for that matter. But he really just said about Michkov is not going anywhere. Duh.
Did you think that was interesting that he said that?
So I thought it was interesting that he had to be adamant about it. Yeah, well, I mean, there's people who are like scared, like, oh my God, he's going to want to get himself out of town. Like Cutter truly messed with people's minds. The average athlete is not like that asshole. Like most of them are normal. Like it's all part of the growing process. They understand that. They think they're going to run him out of town because of what happened with Cutter. I don't see that at all. I think Michkov's a man. If you're going to play that guy.
Yeah. So let me know if you can hear this.
One thing I know about Matvey is
do you hear anything?
He is.
Sorry, did you hear anything there?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. All right, so I'm gonna play this real quick. Let me mute myself. I don't know if it's gonna play over. Okay, here we go.
One thing I know about Matvey is how driven he is. He wants to be the best player he can be. He admitted himself that he wasn't in the best physical condition coming in. It's going to be tough to catch up. Now he's in better shape than he was when he arrived this season. Unfortunately, everybody is in better shape than they were training camp. So it's really tough for him to catch up with the amount of games that we have, the amount of travel that we have. It's just tough for him to catch up in season. He's going to do that in the off season. It was a good lesson for him. And it's just going to make him a better hockey player coming next year.
Okay. So what did you think? What did you think about that, Jack? What did you think about the GM thinking that he had to come out and, because this stuff caught on nationally?
Well, I mean, it doesn't help when your head coach is buddies with that stupid podcast. But I mean, it's widely out there. It's to the point where Elliot Friedman is making comments about this. Let me pull up that quote real quick.
Yeah.
On 32 Thoughts, this has been mentioned. And it's funny that he came out and said this because here's what Elliot Friedman said. I quote, "I'm calling for the Briere signal. This calls for extra measures. Michkov is too important, has to finish the season on an upswing. The Flyers organization were unhappy with some of the commentary over the weekend. You want to kind of keep that stuff in-house," end quote. Damn. Like, so if Elliot Friedman's reporting that a few days before it happens, and then it happens, and I'll be honest with you, I was saying this on social media and a few I was mentioned in a few things, and I was kind of like, I feel like Briere's got to come out and say something soon, like a state of the Flyers or something like that, or just this. And I'm not surprised at all. He was very adamant right away about how Michkov's not going anywhere, which he's not. I really don't know why people think that. Outside of
it's
maybe
PTSD, I think
that's like the demanding that like he's like, I want out of here. But there's people who just think he's just going to get traded because he's not that good. Like, this is just wild to me.
Yeah.
On top of that, like, Tocchet's not going anywhere either. Like, there's no coach in the history who signs a 5-year deal, 50 games in, gets canned. Like, they'd have to be and whatever. And
yeah, we got at least 2 more years of Tocchet, at least.
I'm serious. And it's like, unless Michkov actually did demand a trade and the team had 3 wins on the season, there is no chance. Like, they actually had a pretty decent start to the season, if you remember. So, like, he's going to hang his hat on that too. And then didn't Sorts come in during that season? I don't think it was from the. It was.
I don't remember, honestly.
Well, he wanted the Sedins to block shots, and they don't do that. That was not a rebuilding team. So yeah. So and I don't think he signed a 5-year contract with them either. Like, I know we're Comcast, but they're not gonna. They're paying Torts and Tocchet this year. They're gonna pay Tocchet for the next 4 years and bring in somebody else. There's no chance. It doesn't happen. Like, they don't overreact like fans want them to, no matter how angry they are. So it's like, just get that out of your head. It's not happening. It doesn't happen. So I'm not worried. I was not that I'm worried, but it's just kind of eye-rolly silly. And I agree with everything he said about Michkov. I feel like, he's kind of got that Jordan in him where he's like, I want to be the best I can be. Now, he's still a kid. Kids like to party when they're single and they have all this money and, it's the off season. And you learn. You live, you learn. It happens. Yeah, if he comes and does it again this off season, that's a problem. That's a massive problem. But I don't think he'll do that. I truly do not believe he'll do that.
Yeah. Something I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to mention it. When you come in as a player, when you come in out of shape like that, it's not just your coach that is pissed off at you, but your teammates are upset with you too.
Right.
Because you're supposed to be one of the better, if not the best offensive player on the team. And, everyone wants to talk about Michkov. They're all getting asked about Michkov nonstop. Like, let's be honest. These guys, they'll give short answers and they'll answer questions, but they want to talk about themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're, let's say, Travis Konechny or Sean Couturier, and you've been in this league for however many years, and hockey players, I think, are pretty good about this, maybe compared to some other sports. But when they get asked questions about their teammates, it's like, why are you talking to me? Like, why don't you talk to that guy and ask him? And so when they get asked all these questions about Michkov and he comes in out of shape and they did all the work, it's kind of like it would piss you off a little bit, like.
I get it. Look at Travis Anna. I mean, a couple of years ago, he's on his way out, being traded to St. Louis. It wasn't for a crew canceling that deal. He's not even with the Flyers. He turns his career around. Now he's making Team Canada. And the first question is, so why didn't Michkov play more than 12 minutes? I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. When he came in out of shape.
No, it's true. It's true.
I get it.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't talked a lot about Sanheim making the
It's not playing a whole
Olympic team
really that well right now, so maybe now's not the time.
Yeah,
He's
still representing his country.
I mean, no, by all means, congrats. Like they put out a nice video of him telling his dad. I saw that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah, like that should be like a big story instead. Like when we look back on this season, it's going to be the Michkov versus Tocchet season.
It's going to be Michkov something every day until he retires or he's gone. And like you said, PTSD, man. Cutter, as stupid as that is, Carter Richards, Lindros, like this front office / fan base, depending on who you blame it on, has had issues with their star players, and it's usually resulted in them out of town.
Yeah. The other interesting point, Tocchet said something about treatments, and me personally, I didn't take it as him singling out Michkov when he mentioned that. But the other thing is, like throughout a season, especially if you're not in shape, like when you work out, Jack, when you have like a big, all right, so let's put it this way. If let's say you sign up for beer league hockey and you go play a game tomorrow, how do you feel?
I'm sore all over, baby.
You're going to be sore as shit.
Yeah.
So if you're, let's say, a professional athlete or an athlete at a high level, you still get sore. And if you're not in proper shape the next day, it's going to take you longer to recover than it would if, you put in the work, if you're ready, hit the ground running into the season. So, back-to-backs or one day off in between games, it's taking your body longer to recover as opposed to somebody who did things the right way. Like there's a lot that goes into being properly conditioned. It's not like, you run on a treadmill an hour every day and you're good to go. Or, you play in, 3-4 games a week, like, cause you're not playing the 60 minutes. There's a lot that happens in between, I think, as well. I mean, look, our the chat knows it matters what you put in your body, what you're doing in between the off days, yada yada. So I don't want to sound like I'm preaching or anything, but it's more than just working out. And I don't know how to explain it. I hope I'm doing a good job.
Well, it's not just eating out. Eating out. It's not just working out. You want to eat right. You do a lot of things to. What was that? You threw me off there. Yeah, eating out. At a restaurant, Jim. But it's also eating healthy.
Well, maybe he's doing too much of that too.
I mean, Voracek used to do that. He used to go home, come back in. Mama's cooking. It'd be like 15
Mama's cooking,
pounds.
all right. Yeah.
Oh Jesus! I can't get you I just can't get you off of this, can I? Oh, Christ.
Dan wants you to take your shirt off, he said.
No, he just said ours.
What would it take for you to take your shirt off on the show, Jack?
Probably about 2.5 years of going to the gym steadily. And
a Michkov hat trick?
Yeah, there you go. And only if the last goal is a Michigan.
All right.
So I almost saw that last year. He had 2 goals. He went for the Michigan, and the goalie made the save. It was right there. Right there.
All right. How about this? Because we have 5 minutes left, and not that we're running out of topics here, but what would get you to take your shirt off? A Michkov hat trick or a Michigan?
Oh, I think either one.
And this is for Dan, by the way, because he wanted that.
Either one for Dan.
Oh, so either a hat trick or a Michigan?
Yeah.
And the next show after that, you come in shirtless?
Maybe not the whole episode. Maybe I just take it off at some
all
point.
Right.
Or I'll do the episode like this. How's that?
No. Just joining in. Yes, the fans are the problem. Don't say that, Greg.
The only thing I'll say about the fans, don't change. Don't change. Never change. But because of this outcry, it's why things needed to be addressed. It's like one thing led to another. Tocchet being asked the question for the 25th time, why he's Michkov's playing 10 minutes tonight, goes off, Briere's making a thing. You know what I mean? It's like one thing leads to the other. It's a trickle-down effect. A chain reaction.
Lyndon's saying don't do the haircut bit.
Oh,
that would have to be you because I don't have anything to shave off there, unless it's like my back. Like,
oh God, who would want to see that?
RD1 Rock wants to know where Tony Escargot, what he did.
If I had to guess, I don't know. I know he was sending out cannolis to people, but he was making a lot of comments about Tocchet's old gambling case. Remember that with Wayne Gretzky's wife? They got
I seem to wonder if he shut down that account and created the Gambling Rick account. Have you seen that? That's the guy that called me a twice baked potato.
So both accounts were active at some time.
Yeah. Well, when the Tony Escargot one shut down, that's when I started seeing the Gambling Rick one pop up.
I don't know. And that's weird.
It's impossible to offend me, by the way. It just I can dish it out so I can take it, obviously.
Got it.
So that made me laugh. And, ball jokes are the best, so bring it on. TMI Jim. Sorry, Vineet. It's the testosterone flowing through my veins. I got hair everywhere but my head. All right. What thoughts on Gavin McKenna's? I didn't see mom there, but did you hear about this, Jack?
Oh, yeah. First off,
she was involved.
Keep Corey Perry away from her. No. So basically, McKenna is allegedly facing up to 20 years in prison based on an assault charge. So what I saw was some crazy fan was going after his mom verbally, the family, really. He had friends and family there, and he just wouldn't leave him alone, tried to de-escalate, tried to separate him, and eventually he called his mom something very bad, and he turned around and he punched this guy. I believe he broke his jaw, knocked out some teeth, and the kid has a concussion. So yeah, it's looking bad. It's assault. Now, was it warranted? I guess I guess the jury will decide. So yeah, this all is what happened. So
if you're on the jury in this case, Jack, and it all comes out that yes, that's what that happened. He called his mom a whore and got his jaw broken for it. Who do you side with?
If they can prove that every reason why he punched that guy, even though it's against the law, regardless, I fall under the F around and find out. Yeah, well, if you talked about my family that way, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's how I feel. I don't care what the law is. Too many people get to be yapping around, because of that. So I think he got, if it's true, what he said was as bad as what he said and was relentless about it. He yapped around and he found out.
I wonder if college players are going to need some kind of like outfit, like not security or bodyguard type thing, but now they're getting paid, like they're making money. So there are going to be these kind of people following them around, like baiting them into this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So that they can sue.
I mean, that's why you have to look at it. They know what they're doing.
Like, I wonder if they're like kind of coached up about this kind of stuff ahead of time. Like, hey, there's going to be people out there, now that you're getting paid in college, just walk away or leave, go somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
Sounds like Flyers material, Grant said. There you go. Slide down the standings. They need a left wing.
Another winger.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're about an hour in. Did we miss anything, Jack?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we pretty much
had a lot of stuff. I'm surprised we got it in just over an hour.
Yeah, almost perfect timing. Chat was on fire tonight, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Let me double check our
go ahead,
notes here. Handy dandy notes. Yeah, shit. Yeah.
Wow, how about that?
We got one more game before the break, and then it's all Team USA.
That's Ottawa tomorrow night. I'll be at that game. Do they win tomorrow night, Jack?
Probably. I really don't know. I'm going to go with an OT loss.
They're the worst.
That's why it's going to happen.
They're the backbreakers for me. Just lose in regulation if you're going to lose.
I know. They're probably feeling themselves off that Washington win. Bladar's looking better. TK's looking pretty good. It's like, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's where my heart, my gut, that's where my gut is.
All right. Well, let's trust that bad boy then. All right. We're going to wrap up. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please make sure to subscribe and help us continue our quest for 3,000 YouTube subscribers. Give us a like. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, our like goal is 100 likes for the episode. Leave a comment for us on YouTube. Let us know how we did tonight. If you're listening as a podcast, once again, you can find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and set alerts so you're the first in line, first to know when we drop a new show. For all of our latest episodes, you can find us on @HW Hockey YT. That's our YouTube channel. For Jack, I'm Jim. Don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. We'll see you next time on HW Hockey. Good night.
Next time.
Thanks for